Well, for a sip of coffee, if you were one of the people that had the opportunity of being able to play Arena yesterday, meaning primarily streamers, perhaps you had an opportunity to be able to experience all of the things that Arena has to offer, at least in its core mechanics. Anyway, this video is going to go into the good and bad, a little bit of a review on the Arena system, what I like about Arena, and what I dislike about Arena. Chances are you're going to hear something similar from my video that you're going to hear from a lot of other content creators because it feels as though we all kind of share the same opinions. So that's at least neat. Arena, Tarkov Arena. Unfortunately, I had to sit and wait for a download button for about 4.5 hours, 5 hours yesterday before they finally ended up figuring out the issue. I got an email at the very start when they started sending out the emails. Unfortunately, I didn't actually get to be able to play the game until way later. So I've got 3 whole matches in, and my KD is atrocious, but that is one of my gripes. Not because I'm bad at the video game, because let's be honest, I'm probably bad at the video game compared to my peers, but because of how the matchmaking is established. But more on that in a second. Arena is Tarkov's offering to like the competitive esports world. It is designed to give people an opportunity to experience all of the Tarkov-esque gun mechanics and meta animations and all of the things combat-wise that make Tarkov Tarkov without having to go through the larger game and adventure around in these massive maps and get wrecked from a bajillion different angles and experience all of the other mechanics that Tarkov has to offer as a larger video game. The idea here instead is that you go in, you shoot at people, you rinse and repeat. Best of 5, there isn't anything special there, no win by 2. You just get to 5 wins, 5 round wins, and you win the match. Beta invites for this started going out yesterday morning and are supposed to be getting doled out to the people that own EOD in the order in which those accounts were created. That's at least what Nikita said about it when he did an interview talking about how this was going to get rolled out a long time back. My understanding, though, is there are people that are getting into Arena by purchasing just like the Arena game and getting in like right away. And other people that are getting in are mainly content creators from what I've seen from the original emails that got doled out. Hopefully the email system was just bogged down and there's going to be a lot more people that get into this, because right now, if you were playing in a 5-stack, it seemed as though the people that you ended up playing against, every single team that I played against or watched my friends play against, every single team was comprised of a 3 to 4 to 5 stack of just content creator people that were playing in teams. But of course, server woes for Tarkov doesn't sound like something that's new. Anyway, insofar as how the game works, you go into this presets menu. You can take a look at the different classes. It's based on like your ranking in the ranking system. So starting with 1 ARP, everyone starts off at 1500. You get 25 points for a win, 25 loss of points for a loss, and then this ARP left shows how many points you need to get to rank like B+ or C or whatever. So in this case, you know, you have these 4 loadouts and then these 4 loadouts. Each one of these loadouts doesn't offer any progression. It's just an opportunity to be able to play whatever these ranks of characters have as a weapon. Some of these are incredibly strong. Some of them are a little bit lacking. It just depends on what you want to do. So these are all based on rating, and anyone can use these based on whatever rank you achieve, which again is kind of weird because it's based on win-loss, which means that if you wanted to be able to use one of the loadouts down here, you have to be at 8,000 ARP or S rank in order to be able to take advantage of using this RPK loadout. It's all based on whether or not that's a rank that you've achieved. It really just looks like a flex to me. But there are other classes that you can go through: CQB, Scout, Marksman. I started working through the CQB system, the Scout system, where you can see that there's a guy here with a Keter, and this is another gripe that I have. This tree goes down through, and the reason why I chose the Scout is because down here at the bottom is my man Samael, who's rocking the KS-23 draws, because we definitely need to go for the knees. Unfortunately, my man Samael here doesn't have any painkillers, but he does get to rock a cultist knife, which I found to be interesting. The only thing he gets is a Gustin, and he's got a tramadol, but this isn't going to do anything for pain relief. So if he gets legged, he's screwed. And he's the only guy that I found so far that has a KS. You know how much I love my KS-23. Anyway, moving back through the tree. So there's a bunch of different loadouts, and you move through the tree by progressing through each one of these systems. Every time that you run around, win or lose, depending on what you've been able to accomplish with this kit, you get a certain amount of experience, and then that XP ends up translating into being able to move into the next branches of these tiers, as long as you unlock them. Now, this section here that says MP 172, 254, 361, that is actual gear score for the items that are in these kits, which is an interesting piece because even though there's gear score that's listed for this, it doesn't seem as though the game is actually using the gear score for any type of matchmaking at all. Right now, you could be, let's see, on this rating side, you could still be in D+ with a KD over, let's say, 50 games that looks exactly like mine. Maybe I'm somewhere around a 1200 ARP, which means I'm going to get matched, or I'm supposed to be getting matched with people that are roughly around the same arena reputation points that I am. Again, based on win-loss. So if you're somebody that's on the losing side, you get stuck on like lower and lower ARP brackets. Right now, everyone, no matter how good they are, at best, they are sitting around somewhere around 2,000. If we look at the leaderboard, you can see that like the best person on the planet right now is at 2,400. So they've been playing all day, day in, day out. You got Rangar, Hyper Rat. You know, there's a lot of guys here that you'll see names, Bake Jake, people that are parents, people that are known for being cracked at Tarkov, even on this leaderboard, are still just now like getting into C or the middle of C. So this is a far, far cry from having everyone sussed out in terms of what rank they're supposed to be. And this is part of the issue with the ranking system, because if we start going down this tree, this is maybe 5 games at most. This is maybe another 5 to 7 games. So in order to be able to get this guy with a tier 4 RBAV, 200 round mags of in their M4, even though it's mod 0, it's not the point, and a Kiver with a face shield, you compare that to the scout class that on that tree that I'm trying to work down, and I end up matchmaked with a guy that was able to get in 10 or 15 games, and they're in a situation where now they're fighting a guy that's running a Shamaska and 6B2 stab vest body armor. That it doesn't matter if he's running mod 0. He could be running War Mage, and I'm still going to end up getting absolutely shredded. And this is kind of the inherent issue with the matchmaking system right now, is they're just throwing you into a pool where the XP to get into the next kit is a lot faster and a lot better than the people that are starting out. It's not just learning the maps and getting in there to like frag. It's having to come up against guys that have significantly better gear than what you have right now, and it makes it look like the gear score in the MMR system right now is at least just completely out of the window. My guess is because they just don't have enough people playing right now. Hopefully over time this whole thing ends up getting sussed out a little bit, and we'll end up in a situation where maybe this won't be as pronounced as it is, but I think they're going to need significantly more people playing the game in order for this to feel like it's even somewhat normalized, so that people feel like they have a fighting chance. Otherwise, you're going to do what I'm doing, and you're going to end up getting sandbagged really bad on both your KD and your rating until you get enough XP to start getting into kits to feel competitive. And then you're in a, again, you're fighting that uphill battle that the guys that were able to play early yesterday weren't in because everyone else was running the same gear. Now, on the plus side, it is a good way to get in there and like frag with your buddies. If you have 3-man, 4-man, 5-man, and you want to get in there and have some fun with your friends, you can absolutely do that. It's this game, like all other games. I mean, hell, just about everything that you do is always more fun with friends. It's a good way to learn Tarkov mechanics, to get in there and to fight and frag and all that other stuff. It's great, actually. However, there are some quality of life things in here that definitely need adjusting. When you're matchmaking, people have to hit accept a bunch of times. Kind of like if you're waiting for a game of Dota or League and you're in that queue waiting for an opportunity to be able to go into a map, everyone has to click accept. If you go in and you say, I want to do an arena battle, there is no unranked mode. Let's say I'm going to do a team fight and I hit next. We're going to choose the bowl. And then we hit go. Through the matchmaking system, you're waiting until you end up getting match made with someone, anyone, whatever. When you get in there, when it finally gives you the opportunity to do that, you end up sitting in this secondary screen that says you have to accept in order to be able to get in right here. So there's a 30-second wait where you have to accept. You have an option. Push the button or don't. Right now, everyone else in the match is waiting for me to press the accept button because everyone has to say yes. If I don't say yes while I'm waiting for this and it gets to 0, it kicks me out and it kicks out everyone else because I didn't hit the button. And then you go back to the beginning of the queue again. 3, 2, 1, 0. I missed it. I get kicked out, and so does everyone else. That is a quality of life feature that probably needs some adjusting. If somebody hits go, they end up in the match. That's how it should be. For everyone having to click accept as if you were waiting in a queue for League and to have somebody miss to get kicked back again. For anyone that's ever played League or Dota, you know what I'm talking about. You end up waiting for that one person and they never hit the button. There's been hundreds of memes made about that. And it's something I think that Tarkov needs to fix. And last but certainly not least, inside of Arena right now, there are sound issues. The crowd and the announcer are very, 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 very loud. It's very, very hard to hear footsteps of other people around you, especially if you have a kit that doesn't have a headset on. those types of things end up really causing issues. Not being able to hear in a game like Tarkov where footsteps are everything is definitely a problem. Not that it should be quiet or silent, and I realize that there's supposed to be cheering in the crowd, and like the muddying of sound and stuff like that is a design choice that these guys have had. They're trying to make a game feel immersive or more immersive or whatever. But that to me is a problem when, you know, you're losing to sound cues that you can't hear because the announcer is like constantly just barking in your ear every time somebody gets killed or anyone gets a kill. Like that's a thing. Also, on the competitive side, when we're talking about a round, it's a minute and 30 seconds of gunplay time. And then after that minute and 30 seconds is up, there's a point on the map that opens. Usually there's 2 points available, and then those 2 points end up, one of the two of them ends up opening up as a point for capture. So as a way to push the progression of the round, there's a 45-second round after the first minute and 30 where you run to that point and try to capture the point. If somebody doesn't capture the point in that 45 seconds, then there's a kill squad that gets released onto the map that starts like running around trying to kill you, a bunch of NPCs. If for whatever reason you are still alive after a certain amount of time when those NPCs spawn, then the round releases a bunch of radiation where you start taking ticking damage from an irradiated area, which is the arena now. If for whatever reason you're able to heal through that, then the map spawns a boss from Tarkov, Tagilla, Killa. They will run you down and kill you. So there's an RNG element to this that will force you to lose a round. We had it happen multiple times yesterday. You saw it happen actually in the Tarkov tournament in the finals at DreamHack for that 50,000 euro prize. VP ended up losing a round because they pushed the timer, and Tagilla ended up spawning, choosing a random opponent, and then rushing them down and killing them. While I appreciate the idea of there needing to be some form of push, and Tarkov obviously wanting to do its own thing, pushing you toward completing a round and needing to push the round forward and keep it more fast-paced, I'm not sure if in the competitive setting, on the ranked side, forcing people into firefights with an RNG mechanic that is solely based around whether or not they decide to aggro you or the other guy that makes you lose is a sound design decision. I realize that there are people that will disagree with me on this, and they start comparing it to things like BR circles. But when it comes to the BR circle, you have the ability to see that on a minimap. You can strategize for that. You know which way it's moving to. There is opportunity there to be able to counteract those mechanics from what it is that you can see coming. And when it comes to stuff like Arena right now, with spawning in those bosses and whatnot, you don't really know where they're coming from. So it's a little bit of a different animal, in my opinion. Anyway, enough about that, though. Overall, I'm going to give Arena in its current form probably like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. It's fun. I wonder whether or not this is going to have any longevity. There's a lot of mechanics and a lot of cross-platform stuff between this and Tarkov proper that aren't implemented yet. This feels like it is years away from whether or not this is going to be really fleshed out into an actual like quote unquote esports experience. And to me, with the being able to use your PMC from Tarkov proper and bring them in and use them in this and all that other stuff, I don't know how far off that is. That feels like it's going to be a while. And the thing that really I think is the biggest issue here is the matchmaking. Right now, the matchmaking system with the vastly different gear presets and loadouts and whatever you'd be able to play with are running the gamut to an extent that if you are me right now, half a day behind your peers, you're at a severe disadvantage because there just isn't enough fresh meat coming in to play at the same time. So anyway, guys, that's what I have for this one. Thanks so much for coming and checking it out. If you would be so kind as to sub the channel here, I would very, very much appreciate it. As always, I stream every day around 7 to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not today. I got a little bit of a late start, but I wanted to get this video out for you. Thank you very much for lending me your eyeballs. I love you all. The viewership has been amazing. You guys are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you in the next one, okay? Peace.